Hello and welcome to this very special episode of E-Inspiration on India Today. And I've got Captain Fantastic, Leader Fantastic, perhaps our greatest footballer of all time, Sunil Chhetri, captain of the Indian team, captain of the Bengaluru FC team, but more importantly, a true inspiration and an embodiment of light for Indian football. Sunil, thank you very much for joining me. The transition from cricket to football, the transition from Saurav to you, the transition from Virat to you taking center stage. First thoughts on ISL in a bio bubble, and you are back on the park again very shortly in about some days from now.
I think my first thought, Boria, is that I'm really grateful. Times where lots of people have lost their livelihood, a lot of them do not know what they're going to do. A few of my friends are wondering as to what the next step in life is going to be, and here I am, keeping my job, allowed to train, going to be allowed to participate in a tournament. We are very fortunate. Having said that, once we have entered the bio bubble, it's been 3 weeks, and I must say a few of us are struggling. But I always keep reminding myself and others that it's a blessing that we can train. It's a blessing that we can play a tournament in these times. So whatever difficulties come along, just bear because the fruits and the dividends are quite outstanding. So yes, the bio bubble is difficult. Yes, there are a few things which weren't normal and we have to adhere by it. But at the end of the day, when the tournament starts, everything's going to be cool.
Sunil, when you say the bio bubble is difficult, can you please give me and my viewers a sneak peek? I mean, because we talk so much about mental health, but you are actually in there. What are the issues? What are you struggling with? How do you overcome that? And again, you as leader, if you are struggling, then what about some of the others who are not as experienced or as mentally strong? If you give me a real understanding of the bubble.
Yeah, the bubble is difficult because your movements are very restricted. I'll give you a small example. We just had our lunch. Everyone stays in one floor, the whole team, right from our drivers to our ball boys, everyone stays in one floor. The place where we eat is in the same floor. The people who are serving us stay with us in the same floor. And while we leave our room, we got to wear our mask and go to the dining table. Even there, we cannot sit collectively. There has to be social distancing. And then when you come back, the only place you go out is training in the same bus to a same place. And even there, you have to make sure that you don't venture out here and there from the ground that we train in. 1 day, 2 days, it's all right, it's fun. But to do it every day and to be mindful of what you're touching, where you're going is not easy. A lot of young ones are probably struggling a little bit more. If you ask me, till now I'm calm. I knew how it's going to be. I'm someone who generally now in this stage of my career, I don't like going out too much. So I'm all right. I know after hearing this, the young boys are going to kill me. But I must admit that it's not easy. Again, I keep reminding myself and the whole team that what we are going to get is something huge. So just make sure that you stay calm, but it is not easy.
Absolutely correct, Sunil. I mean, I can imagine what you just said. We are operating from our studio for this particular interview. The only show that I come to the studio for is inspiration. And I know the kind of things you are saying, but at least I can be at home for the rest of the time. Tough times, but again, you will be able to bring smiles on billions of faces, Sunil. I mean, the ISL, when the whole country will watch Sunil Chhetri step out for Bengaluru FC against maybe an ATK Mohun Bagan for the first time or an SC East Bengal. I mean, it will be incredible for Indian football. So thoughts on ISL this year, bigger and better with these two new teams, and how are you looking at it?
To answer to your first question, Boria, I think 3 months back when Schalke and Borussia played a game, one of the first games which is allowed inside closed doors. As an Orthodox fan, I thought it wouldn't be great. But because I was watching it live on telly, I was so happy and enjoyed those 90 minutes. I know it is not the ideal situation for fans, but live sports is probably the best thing in the world. So I enjoyed it so much as a fan. And then I realized that, yes, sports person have so much of power when they go and compete and give live sports to people who are sitting at the home and give them hope and give them something to enjoy. And that's the answer for the first question. And the second one, indeed, when you join Mohun Bagan and East Bengal into any mixture in Indian football, the result is outstanding. It had to happen. The two biggest names in our country for over 100 years had to be there, had to be in the tournament where all the top Indian players play. So I'm really happy for them. I think each and every one in the country is happy that both of them are going to participate. And yeah, I mean, they are most welcome. I welcome them, except for the match against us.
In fact, I remember that particular night, Sunil. I think it was 16th or 17th of May, and when that first goal was scored and the dance happened when the players couldn't come to each other but they were celebrating. I remember that moment, and all of a sudden it was like, I am also getting my life back. I mean, it was Borussia Dortmund or some other team, I don't care, but I was watching live sport back. It sort of lifted that gloom, lifted that negativity. And now when I see Sunil Chhetri play or a Bengaluru FC play my team and ATK Mohun Bagan, I will be like, yes, this is what we live for. Having said that, Sunil, coming to your team, Bengaluru FC, you all have created a niche already. A major footballing landscape has been occupied by you all in the last 5-6 years. What are you doing right? What are the structures, systems, corporate involvement, for example, whether it's that IIS training center done by JSW, what are you all doing right as a team?
Well, Barua, there is a lot of reasons why probably we are doing all right. If I have to name few things, I think one is that the owners, the coaches, the team behind the team, the players, everyone is in sync. Everyone is very hungry to improve, which is paramount for a team to do well. You can pick any individual from the team, and if you talk to the person has desires and dreams to improve. There is not much interference into each other's job. There's a lot of mutual respect and love. There's a lot of stability. A lot of right people at the right job is probably why we are doing well. And let me tell you, the players aren't the topmost performers of our club. There are so many others who probably people don't know and listen about, are the ones who are driving the team. Collectively, everyone pushes each other. Everyone, because he or she aspires to become better, is rubbing that same thing to the other person, and that's why the team is going forward. We may lose, we may win in coming days, but one thing is for sure, the club really wants to improve.
That's music to my ears, and that's what professional football club or a franchise should be about. About you personally, Sunil, I mean, second highest goal scorer, and we've celebrated you for the longest. Year on year, it is Sunil Chhetri who's the cynosure of attention. How do you deal with that pressure? Your good friend Virat Kohli, for example, deals with it in a particular manner. I was watching that Instagram chat, but in your case, you are calmer. Two very different kind of leadership styles, both equally impactful. What is your vision for sport? You said at this time of your career, but I still think at this time of your career, you still have plenty to give our sport. Talk to me about your career at this point and your leadership philosophy.
Well, first of all, I do not take things too seriously. I think the kind of life I've got, Boryada, I think it's an unbelievable life. I am where so many kids in our country aspire and dream to be. I have got so much in my life from football that I don't take any of it for granted. I'm living probably more than a dream. You know, if 17 years, 18 years back when I started, if you would have asked me, you know what, here is a pen and a paper, write what you want in your life, I couldn't have written what I've got right now. So I'm really fortunate. A lot of people have worked really hard for me to reach here. So the least that I can do is get up every day and be as hungry as possible and give everything on the pitch. And that's what I do. I'm enjoying my game. Physically, I've never been more fitter. I've surrounded myself in life with lovely, amazing individuals in my life who help me, push me every day. And probably that's why I'm doing all right. I think enjoying at this stage what you do is very, very important. You know, when you start, there are a lot of things that you play for, you know, fame, money, trophies and stuff like that. But now, for most, I play for the enjoyment of the game, which is taking me back to my childhood, because when you start as a young boy, you just want to enjoy the game, and that's what I get the feeling now. So I'm really enjoying it. The only thing that I do is I go and give everything that I've got, because the game has given me so much and more that I could have never even dreamt of.
You know, Sunil, the reason why you are who you are is because of this humility and modesty. I mean, more important than a performer is what you are as a human being. And I know you for several years and decades now, and that has not changed. That's why Sunil Chhetri remains the beacon of hope and light for Indian sport, because you're a true ambassador of this sport. Having said that, Sunil,
Boryada, if I can interfere, I'm not trying to be humble, Boria. I'm just trying to be honest. I'll tell you a small day of my life. I think every day my job is just to get up happy, train hard, sleep well, and that's it. There are so many people behind the scene who work hard for me. My dad and my manager is my best friend, take care of all my finances, all my investment. My poor wife has to get up early in the morning and think about all the meals I'm going to have, the kind of naps I'm going to take. Everything in my household works exactly according to what Sunil Chhetri, the player, needs. So I'm not trying to be humble. I'm being very honest that my work is very easy. My work is to get up happy, eat well, train hard, and sleep. That's all I do. Rest everything so many people work hard on. I think the physios and the masters who work so hard just so that I can go and train to my optimum level. All these people around help me so much, and they go unnoticed so many times. I mean, even without any one of them, I wouldn't be who I am. And I'm not trying to be humble again. I'm just trying to be honest.
That's a fantastic answer, because that tells me why a Mumbai Indians wins or a Delhi Capitals make the final or a Bengaluru FC dominates is because of the structure behind. It is not the day. It is about preparation for months, which is
True.
beyond
True.
the camera. That's what Sunil was talking about, whether it's Sonam, whether it's Team JSW, whether it's his sponsors, whether it's his coach and physio and Monsieur. It's that team, Sunil Chhetri, that makes him who he is. Fabulous answer. Sunil, the other point I want to touch upon is with ISL, whether it's FSDL and Reliance, whether it's JSW, whether it's RPSG, I see serious corporate involvement. And that for me is music, because ultimately you need that level of corporate support for Indian football to progress. In your case, whether it's Puma supporting the Bengaluru FC team, you personally this year, again, it's a global brand. That helps Indian football. Will you agree that ISL has made that difference?
It really has. I think there are many factors why Indian football has done decently well in the last 5, 10 years, and ISL definitely is one of the protagonists. I think I know it. I've spoken about it. The whole country knows it. Just to take the whole sport, domestic sport, to a different level has been one of the main outcomes of ISL coming to Indian football. Just the euphoria, the understanding, the reach that he has it's outstanding. I mean, all the players, everyone who aspires to be a footballer is right now, getting the benefits of ISL, and in coming future also they're going to get. I really think so that ISL coming in Indian football has been a blessing for Indian football.
Sunil, what's the way forward for Indian football? I mean, one thing is to now have a professional domestic structure, which now we will have longer league. It's become the Premier League, ISL. Because when we spoke last year, you had mentioned that you are actually looking at 2026. Is it still a ballpark? Can we realistically start dreaming that, okay, in this decade, the 20s decade, Indian football can really go up there? Do you see that level of talent, and do you see that level of structure now existing?
Okay, it's a two-part question, Boryada. I mean, if you ask me, my individual dream and aspire for my country is to reach the top 10 of Asia and stay there. Right now, we are hovering around 14 to 16 in Asia. For every one jump in the ranking, we really have to work hard. But for me, the realistic target for the next 3, 4, 5 years is to reach the first 10 in Asia and stay there. What will happen is once we reach the first 10, you will see us rubbing our shoulders more than often with the Japan, the Australia, the UAE, the Uzbekistan, and the South Koreas, the top teams. And then you will exactly know how far we are. We already know the first 5 teams play, the Asian teams play the World Cup. In coming years, it might be 8. So when you are in the top 10, you will know exactly how far you are, and the whole country will get the answer. So for the first realistic target for me is to reach the first 10 and stay there. Now, there are so many things that we have to do right to reach there as soon as possible. Few of them we are doing right. But I think the one main thing that we should do or aspire to do is to make sure that every kid in our country who is good enough, he or she, should be identified as early as possible and made sure that is given the right education, infrastructure, knowledge, everything at the right time. Once we do that, whatever outcome we get, we can take it with both our hands. Right now, we don't do it. I think in football and in a lot of sports, we don't tap every talent that's there in our country. I mean, let's face it, we are 1.3 billion people in our country. There is no way that we can be short in talent for any sports. I mean, not only football, but any
Correct.
sport. We have every kind of talent. We have every kind of person. We have every kind of everything in our country. So unless and until we tap our talents in every reason at the right time, we would not be able to say that, you know what, this is the best we can. Not only in football, but even in Olympics, let's say. Unless we make sure that every kid is given the right infrastructure, coaching, knowledge about food and everything at the right age, we will not be able to, what is the word, make sure that we get the best out of what we have.
You know what you just said, I mean, Abhinav Bindra makes this very interesting statement that an Olympics doesn't come every 4 years, it comes every day. I think if that is the philosophy that we sort of imbibe in this country as a sporting culture, maybe we can have a fundamental transformation. But with ISL, I've seen that happen. With the Bengaluru FC, I'm seeing that happen. With corporate involvement, I'm seeing that happen. I mean, Indian football, having sort of observed it very closely, I'm feeling hopeful about it. And that for me is a progressively strong change. Coming to you again, Sunil, you and Virat. And the two of you stand out because of also the fitness culture that the two of you have brought. Very different people, very different personalities. You are slightly senior to him maybe, but whether it's diet, whether it's fitness, whether it's the idea and culture of fitness, that I think brings the two of you together. Can you give me a sense of how you changed over time into being the fitness freak that you are in terms of diet and in terms of everything else, and what you do now to remain at that level?
I think, Boria, I can't tell you one specific moment when it all changed, but I think it is, it came from a thought once that I had that, when you see the likes of Messi and Ronaldo's and Aguero's and Thierry Henry's of the world, and you always think, you aspire to be like them, and you try to score like them or play in top levels. The kind of talent you have and the kind of skill you are born with, you can't change much, but you can definitely work as hard as anyone else in this world. Why can't you have the same kind of fitness, the same kind of diet, and the same kind of zeal that somebody like Ronaldo has? You might not have his, let's suppose in my case, his height or his jump or his scoring ability or the fact he's playing in Europe, but you can definitely work as hard as him. What you eat is common around the whole world. To be very mindful of what you eat, like a small then, but now a big, profound thing that I changed in my life was, I do not eat what I want, but I eat a lot what I need. It's a very simple thing, but it changed in the last 6-7 years. Is I eat a lot as to what my body needs and very less, because I'm human. I've got desires and sometimes you need that. I eat very less of what I want. I think a lot of people around me eat a lot of what they want, and that goes a little bit wrong when you are talking about small margins in professional football. So if you want that small margins, then I know the same kind of philosophy Virat also follows, that what happens in a day, your skill are not in your hand, how the opponent plays is not in your hand, what kind of game is going to happen is not in your hand, but your body, your sleep, the way you're going to be fit is all in your hand. So we try not to give ourselves any excuses, and we try to make sure that we are very focused on what we eat and how much we sleep and our mentality. And probably that's why the fitness seems a little bit different for us. But I think now every if you talk football, every boy in our country who are playing in ISL are following it, and it's high time, because you might not be able to be like somebody else, but when you have an example, you can always be as fit or work as hard as anyone else in the world.
Sunil, I have done many of these shows and series, but very few statements like that hit me and stay with me. I'm going to take this with me today, that I will not eat what I want, but I will eat what I need. I mean, this will stay with me. So thank you very much for that. I mean, it sort of just hit you. I mean, what you just said, not many times does it happen to me. But in our own ways, all of us have tried to become fitter, develop immunity for obvious reasons with COVID. But this is one statement that will stay with me. Coming to the league again, Sunil, when you've played these two teams, you've played ATK Mohun Bagan or an SC East Bengal, you've played for them. What will it mean for a Bengaluru FC to take field against them? Because these clubs are legacy clubs. They'll come with, yes, not in the stadium, but millions of fans behind. Can you talk to me about what they mean for Indian football, and how appreciative are you as captain of Bengaluru FC, and how much tougher does it make for Bengaluru FC now that these two teams are there?
First of all, it's outstanding. As a fan, there's a football fan inside me. I'm so happy and thrilled. Everyone in my family, we have got roots in our family back to Mohun Bagan. Everyone around me, everyone is so happy. Almost everyone in the country is happy with the fact that East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, of course, with collaboration and different sponsors are there in the ISL. It's outstanding. It was needed. Imagine all the supporters in our country and around the world are going to be there now cheering for the team in the ISL. What it means to BFC is the old rivalry igniting. We all know the kind of rivalry us and Mohun Bagan had. We all know the kind of rivalry us and East Bengal had. I think us and Mohun Bagan had a little bit more fierce rivalry with whatever happened in I-League, and we welcome them back. It was always one of the best matches for neutrals to watch, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to disappoint this time also. Apart from us and East Bengal or us and Mohun Bagan, it's just so good for Indian football. I mean, there is no two ways about it that Mohun Bagan and East Bengal coming into ISL is the best thing that could happen to Indian football.
Fantastic answer. And yes, Sunil is connected to Mohun Bagan. I mean, for people who don't know, his family is Subroto Bhattacharya, one of the legends of Mohun Bagan, and somebody very close to me is family to Sunil. So, and I used to go and stand in the ramparts as a young boy, buying tickets of 60 paisa to see Mohun Bagan. Wow. And then we used to celebrate Bablu Da as Roger Milla when that year when he was coming up and scoring those goals when Mohun Bagan would not be able to score. So that's how we were euphoric Mohun Bagan fans. So it will be 80K Mohun Bagan Bengaluru FC will be a special match for sure. Sunil, after you, who? That's a question I keep asking myself, whether it's a Manbir. I keep seeing, lots of talent there. But do you really see that after Sunil Chhetri, that supply line is there for Indian football? Because last year, while commentating for the ISL, for example, I was a tad sort of taken aback that, oh, you know what, if Sunil goes, then who? I wasn't able to pinpoint. Are you satisfied with what you are seeing?
Well, there are many, Boria, many. But I always say this, after me, we don't need a Sunil Chhetri. We need much more better than Sunil Chhetri. Where you and me want to see Indian football, only one Sunil Chhetri will not suffice. We need many more and many more better than me. If we want to be progressive, if we want to reach where we want to reach, we need many more talents. And I'm very hopeful and happy that there are. I think I would not give names of the right ones who are under me right now, because then I have to take all of their names. They will kill me. But one team that I can tell you is the under-16 team under Bibiano. All these kids are amazing. They are miles better than what we were when we were under-16. They give me a lot of hope and joy. What it does also, it increases the benchmark for the below ones who are going to follow them. And that is how you improve as a nation.
Sunil, amazing. I mean, ultimately a team will be as good if the supply line and the junior level is better, because that's where you will see very different things and a very different footballing culture. Last question, Sunil. You've achieved everything. You said you are living a dream. All I will say is let that dream continue. But is there anything left for you? Do you want to see, before you close out, maybe, whenever you want to take Indian football to a particular level, BFC to a particular level? What does Sunil Chhetri, what is the motivation? I mean, I know you're a super athlete, like the way you describe, but what keeps you going and how do you handle pressure? Because do you eat pressure? Like some athletes say, pressure is a bedfellow. For me, I want to understand that day in, day out, we keep talking Sunil Chhetri, leader, captain, etc. How do you live that pressure?
I probably have found a sweet spot in my head where I keep all these things away, Boria. I think 2011 is when I became the national captain. And then for a couple of years, I was, fighting with my own demons as to putting pressure on myself. And when you start hearing things here and there, it is too much. We are a huge nation. If you start reacting or thinking about what people think, because we have lots of people and we have a lot of opinions and we have a lot of expectations, then you will not be able to play at all. So I think now in my career, I've found a sweet spot. When I do well and people praise me, I stay calm. When I don't do well and people abuse me, I stay calm. At the end of the day, I don't have many years left in football. So I want to enjoy each and every training, each and every game that I have got. And that's it. That's my mantra. I just see the next 1 week. As you ask me, what's my next motivation to achieve? I do not have any. I just want to train the next 1 week and thinking about FC Goa right now, because that's who we're going to face in the first game. And rest, I don't put myself into pressure at all, because no matter good things or no matter bad things that I talked about, it's not going to help me on the ground. The more focused I am in what I can do is what is going to help me. So that's what I do.
My time's up. So I will close this show saying this is a real show for a real man. Inspiration is the other name for Sunil Chhetri. I will maintain this, that he was modest. but I will take what he said to me. All I will say is, like he said, he's got not many years in football, so he enjoys every day. Like him, you and me, the millions who have admired Sunil over the last 18, 20 years, every time he steps on that pitch, whether it's for Bengaluru FC or for India, let's soak it in. Because there's one Sunil Chhetri. Yes, maybe in future we'll have somebody better to take Indian football forward, but never underestimate the contribution of this man, for he has always been the foundation. Because the superstructure can only be built on a foundation which is strong. And Sunil has helped build that foundation. Sunil, be who you are. You are a true inspiration, a dear friend, and a perfect role model for Indian football. Thank you very much to you, and all the very best to Bengaluru FC. When you play ATK Mohun Bagan, I know my loyalties will be divided. But other than that, it's always for Sunil Chhetri. Thank you very much.
Boria, thank you so much for all the sweet words. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.